Am I on live yet? Okay, yes, I am on live. So let's put this up. Am I on live? There we go. Okay. So what I'm going to be doing today is, for those who missed this conversation, I did it already on Instagram, but I'm doing another version for you guys on my actual YouTube channel. So let me kind of get myself set up. Okay, so I asked a question, I believe sometime maybe Monday or Tuesday. I asked a question of, youth track and field athletes, which division would you like to compete in? And I put the options of Division 1, 2, 3, and NAIA. And I got some results. So I put this post up on my Facebook. I put it up on YouTube. I put it up on Instagram and also Twitter. And the response I got was pretty much what I already expected. Since Division 1 has more money backing the institution, I expected everyone to pretty much say that. And so I got about 118 official votes. And in those votes were 63% Division 1, 14% Division 2, 16% Division 3, and NAIA. So I wanted to dive into those numbers, like what do they mean? So the people who answered the question, I then submitted another question to them. And I said, please provide a couple reasons why you selected your choice. And then what are some resources that are lacking when making a college choice? Or what resources, if you're older, already went through college process, were missing or lacking when you made your choice back then? And I got a lot of responses, and they kind of fell into 4 different areas. And those 4 areas really helped out. And what I did was I dove deeper into those questions, and I'm showcasing you what the answers were. I'm going to keep the names separate because I don't want to, kind of indirectly bash a specific group or whatnot. But this is an answer from one of the athletes. He says, one of the major resources that I feel I'm lacking is not having a dedicated coach or staff to point me in the right directions. Along with that, I am lacking an involved coaching staff that cares where I go after high school and is involved in my athletic career. So I want to stop right there for a second and just receive what he's speaking about. And basically, he just feels that he doesn't have a coach that cares about him enough or deep enough. Many times we as coaches are so focused on, the performance of an athlete, we don't really focus on their well-being mentally, physically, emotionally, and so on. And I think that's a huge part of it. And, I've always said an athlete competes as happy or to the level of their happiness. And if they're in a place of joy and they're just ready to go and they're excited, they're going to perform that way, and the results are going to kind of reflect that. If they're in a place of just being sad or having a bad day or a lot of home issues, that's going to showcase on the track. So I really put that into consideration with the athletes. And then from there, caring about where the athlete goes after the fact. There's a lot of coaches that I hear, they're like, oh, they went whatever route or they're not going to college. I think you should use sports to really help them and guide them in where they need to go next. If they're not going to go to college for any reason, then there should be a question of what's next then. What are you planning on doing? And how does that look? And having that conversation with your athletes is very, very important. So back to this part is the athlete doesn't feel like he or she is actually being cared for in the way that the athlete wants to be cared for. And then the next part of the answer was I chose the option of Division 1 because I always want greatness. I strive to push myself as hard as possible during every practice, and Division 1 has the stereotype of being the best. So ideally, being on a Division I team should mean that the coaching staff is pushing you as hard as they can, and they are really dedicated towards the athletic success or the athlete's success. And I think that's a huge way to put it. You know, he's saying that there is a view, Division I being the better institution than the other ones, or the athletes are better, or the resources are better. And in some cases they are, some cases they're not. Some cases the upper divisions are actually better in certain areas. So with that being said, this athlete put this in the correct verbiage because, you know, this athlete's basically just saying, I want the best for myself. And since I perceive Division I having the best resources, that's why I chose it. Which then lets you know that this athlete should also research and figure out, one, what he wants from a college, two, figure out what those colleges offer him. And if they offer him everything he needs and it happens to be an NAIA or a Division III, then he should take those into real consideration versus just saying, I only want to go D1 because that's where all my friends are going or whatever it may be. So this is a very good understanding and breakdown of some athletes' thought processes. The next one is, I made my choice because I have always wanted to go to a Division II school since I was a kid. Other than that, I'm more truly sure why I did pick it when I was. Fast forward, I think that right now it's hard to be able to go see the athletes compete because of COVID. Okay, so basically this athlete is saying he or she chose Division II at a young age, which means that they were introduced to these different divisions at an early age, which many athletes aren't introduced to college routes early, understanding the different types of institutions. So this athlete already had in their mind Division II is the best fit, and that's great. So now they're going to research through all of that. So what that indirectly does is Division II is where they were thinking about going from the very get-go. Now, what if that athlete improves and just ends up doing really well in sports? Then they have Division II and Division I as an option. So understanding that piece means that they open up more opportunities for schools. There's over 15 or about 1,500 schools in the United States across all divisions. But then when you focus it down to a specific division, you cut that number down significantly. So this athlete saying, I'm open and I prefer to go to Division II. It's the best bet because now they have more of a range and it opened up to multiple divisions. Now, I'm not saying the other athlete didn't say, I don't want to go to other divisions. What they're simply saying is, I prefer to go there, right? And I'm assuming that if a person says, I would like to go to Division II, it means that they're also open to Division I. So this is a good way to look at it. Next athlete said, I would rather go Division III than any other divisions because of the fact that I believe I don't have yet the capabilities to go D1, and I'll rather go Division III than II. And the only reason not NAIA is because I really don't know anything about NAIA. And then he's just saying he's a junior in high school. So this is actually good and confusing at the same time. The good part is the athlete saying, I want to go to Division III, meaning I want to go to college, but I'm open to the other ones. But the bad part is they're saying, I don't think I'm good enough. And this athlete is a junior in high school, I'm assuming this year. So they're saying, I'm not good enough, so I think Division III is where I should go, which indirectly implies that Division III isn't the best talent. I don't see it that way. And what I would first attack, now attack isn't the best word, the point I would get to first is you don't want to limit your opportunities or the divisions based off of where you think you are. For example, when athletes get recruited or when they are getting recruited from colleges, the coaches are basing not only their recruiting standards off of the athlete today, but they're also basing it off of the potential. When they see an athlete that may be running, 11 flat in 100, and that school says, but I see your potential in other events, or I see your potential in certain positions, then we want to bring you up to Division II or Division I or whatever it may be. So don't limit yourself based on where you currently are. Some coaches just want a good person. They want someone who's going to be, a leader on their team, and they might recruit you on that. So don't just settle for, well, I'm only jumping, 19 feet. I'm a boy. I'm not good enough. Look at it as, if you're a junior, you're only halfway through your 4 years of college. The next thing is the physiological changes of the high schooler for boys happens within that late sophomore or junior year. So my thing is, keep training, keep shooting for the stars, and don't limit yourself on your possibility, because I believe it's endless. So keep going, keep striving, apply, do the questionnaires for Division I, Division II, and just go. Don't limit yourself. Okay. And then the last thing that I want to bring up actually on the same slide is NAIA. He says, I don't really know about it. So that's a great reason to go do your research. I like the fact that he's vulnerable and saying, I don't know about NAIA. So go learn about it and figure out what it is. A quick rundown is Division I typically is a business for the sport. It's because coaches have to perform at a certain level. They have to show production. Athletes that come in need to improve and meet the standards of not only the coach, but the institution that's set upon them. Division II typically is athletes that are also great, but they're either deciding on certain things, or they maybe didn't get enough money to get into the Division I school because the school they wanted to go to cost at a higher rate. For myself, I went Division II because I had an extra year. I would have lost a year. So Division II actually helped out for me. There's not much drop off. One could say maybe the financial backing, so the resources or the network may be different. But again, it all depends on where you are. For me, I look at it as, I had a full scholarship for Division II, and I had a half scholarship for Division I at the same time. Well, my thing was, why would I pay money for an education when I'm blessed with a gift to get a full ride? My thing was, I'm taking whatever school offers me a full ride, and I had a few full ride offers, so I went with that. And if I wanted to, let's say, go get my master's, then I would have no problem with paying for that after I graduated. I want to use sports, not pay for the sport to get in just to have a certain experience. But again, that payment you're paying also is, you're paying for the network. Let's say you're in the medical field, going to UCLA will be a great network to have because of the resources that are going to be around you and provided to you. So paying, the whatever tuition it is, that's going to help. I know Cal Berkeley is about 40 something thousand for out-of-state tuition. Well, that would make sense if you are going to be in a certain type of network, because you're going to have those resources available. If that guarantees you a job out of college, well, then that may be the best thing. But for me, it's hard to logically put together. I have a full scholarship for school, and then I'm looking at paying between $30,000 and $40,000 per year, and then multiply that times 4. Take on that debt and hopefully maybe earn a scholarship, or take a full ride and graduate as early as possible and then go on from there. That's going to be up to you as an athlete and a student. Okay, I think there's a couple more of these. So I selected D3 because I've always valued academics before my athletics. I've always had my eyes and goal on the top academic colleges, which are either D1 or D3 for track and field. And my track and field times right now are only the standards for D3 schools. So I would either apply academically to D1 schools like Stanford and not run track, or apply to D3 schools like MIT, Carnegie, and pursue my academics and maybe athletics on the side. So just that first part, it's great. It means he's thought these things out. Um, again, there's an underlying thing of, I don't think I'm good enough to get on. But since he knows his own mission, he knows who he is as a person. He's already identified himself as athletics comes second to my academics. That makes it super easy. Now it's, what if he were to get a walk-on position for a D1 school for a sport, or get, a lot of grant money and have the opportunity to run? He's going to be able to decide and figure out, okay, well, if I'm going to MIT for academics and I got in, and I got into, let's just say, small athletic school, Division I. Well, then he might compare and say, I'm gonna go to MIT because I feel that MIT is gonna help me in the long run because of the network, and I'm getting there with grants and whatever else. So this is a good way to think about it. And then from there, the last part of the next paragraph is, I think I understand the academic and athletic process pretty well because I've seen my sister use athletics and his brother, Tony, use academics to get into college. This is what I'm trying to get at. Having the knowledge prior to making a college decision is key. He's seen it with his sister and brother. So now when he makes a choice, he gets to talk to his sister with, how did you get into school? What did you do? What was the process like? He can also talk to his brother with those exact same questions. And now with that being said, he can make a better educated decision than the other two might have had, maybe. But his parents might have had a similar story. But the thing is, he understands it, and that's what I'm trying to get at with this whole process. Why is Division I the better choice? Why do most people want to choose Division I? Well, what I'm getting here is, well, because, that's where all the athletes go. That's where the best talent is. Well, I would simply debate that, right? And so now I would say to you guys, prove it. Show me where the numbers are that they're better, or the schooling is better. And if you can prove it, then you're now more educated in your thought process, and then you can continue going with Division I, right? But if you can't prove it, then it's pretty simple. Open up your parameters. Don't be embarrassed with saying, I'm going to whatever small school, college, versus big name university because it's flashier, because there's a hat and maybe their logo looks better. It's like, none of that really matters. If you're looking to go professional in a certain career, you want to be taught by the best in that career so you have the best chances to be able to move on in that career. If you're saying, I want to go pro in track, I want to go pro in a sport, well, then you probably should go to a school that offers school, but has the best resources and coaches for you to develop to go pro. It's the same concept in both ways, but it all starts with you identifying who you are as a person and what your mission is. Two more. Okay, so because I'm a ninth grader, last season I jumped 18.5. And I have been improving about 1.5 feet every year since the 5th grade. My mom and dad were both Division I track and field athletes, which is good. If other divisions could provide great coaches, I would definitely be open to explore different divisions. I want to finish my sport being the best athlete I can possibly be. I am lacking information on recruiting. Okay, so they don't have the resources in recruiting, and notice that everyone gets chosen to run in track, but I want to be pretty much that person. So this is another example. This is the 9th grader, and they're saying, I'm growing, I'm developing. So this athlete already knows his or her value, because what if they keep jumping 1.5 feet per year, right? And if you're a 9th grader, you're looking at, what is that, almost 20 feet. As a sophomore, you're looking at 23 as a junior, looking at 24, 25 as a senior. So if you keep that pace, then keep that going. Shoot for D1, because you're going to be a 25-footer out of high school. And if that is the case, you can choose between a lot of schools, which is great, right? And this athlete's going to have a lot of understanding. Why? Because both parents competed in college for track and field. So they're going to have a specific amount of knowledge, which goes back into doing your research, right? So what I feel is this athlete's going to have a great help when it comes to exploring. What I will say is, I'm assuming, the parents had the child between 25 and 35. If that is the case, that means that your parents were last in college 15 plus years ago. So that means the process of getting into college has slightly changed. So I would suggest that you still continue to do your research and compare their experiences with yours, because times have changed a little bit and the way the recruiting process may have changed, and just understand their perspectives with a new perspective. So again, educating yourself, which is very good. This is the last one. So I selected Division One as I believe it offers the best opportunity for high performance athletes. Also, I believe it would be the easiest option if someone wants to transfer to being a pro, as D1 is really a high level. So when making a college decision, the resources for me that lack are the support they offer physically and mentally. And this is the part that I really, really like. Now, to start off with the top part of the paragraph is, I kind of touched on it before, but he's basically saying it's an easier transition to go from Division One to pro. I'm going to say it is. I'm going to say I agree, simply because of you have more depth, right? So my year, Division Two, for triple jump, we actually had better jumpers than Division One that year. Our national champion would have won the Division One national championship, and as a whole, we were pretty much even the rest of the way. So the resources from Division One there are kind of implied. Why? Because of the marketing. You know, Division Three NAIA national championships typically aren't going to be on mainstream TV. They're going to be streamed. They're going to be ESPNU. But then you have NCAA championships. The D1 is now on Channel 4. It's going to be on ESPN. Just the major market, or the major stream networks. So that would be a way that your name is bigger. So that when you go pro, people are willing to give you more money as a sponsor because your name has more weight to it. So I'm going to agree with you on that aspect. And then when it comes to, you know, what's lacking in the physical and mental health areas is completely it. You know, when you're a track and field athlete, there's a lot of questions you have and you can't find the answers. You feel down. You're trying to figure things out, and it gets frustrating. And I think that if we were able to support our athletes when it comes to the physical and mental health of it, it's going to help them understand what needs to happen on the track, off the track, and help guide them better. So the fact that people are saying that we need more physical and mental health, it goes right back into the coaches and being there and understanding your athletes and understanding that they're not just a number or a mark. You're trying to get them to develop as a character and go on with whatever. So the first athlete said, you know, I want more support from my coaches, and coaches to know where I'm going and to be more involved in my process after college. Well, that physical and mental health is what he's speaking about. He wants a coach that is going to be supportive and be there with any questions, like a counselor. However, I think counselors understand completely when it comes to the academic route, but sometimes it's good to have that voice of the athletic route too. What does that look like? And then combine those two viewpoints to help you in the long run. So with all this said, I asked this question because I have had a program that I put together, you know, 7-8 years ago. And it was to help athletes understand six different areas. The areas are mental health, as in learning how to set goals, time management, mental balance is the mental health concept, identifying who you are outside of sports or parallel to being an athlete, also food and nutrition, and then something else, I forgot what it was. What I'm going to be doing next week at 6 p.m., I'm going to go live again on YouTube, and I'm going to have a panel of my athlete parents. And the program that I put together is called Universal Athlete 101. It's a course that's 6 weeks, and it covers those 6 areas I just named before. And it teaches you how to open up your mind to these things to help identify who you are and start moving in a forward progress to help you be the best student athlete person you can be. And I'm going to be announcing that later on, but the next week panel, parents are going to talk about what they've learned, the things that they have seen what they knew before coming to Leap Squad, what they knew after, and etc. Now, they went through this course, but it was my plan that I took them through over the years. But what I did now is I put it into a 6-week course. I condensed it and giving you guys all that information. So just stay tuned for next week with that. And it's a huge benefit. You know, it's not just a course, it's actually a college prep. It's preparing you for college, and it's going to be good. So I already have a video out right now already talking about it, but I'm going to really go hard with letting you guys know what it is, why it's important, and why you guys need it. Now, there are obviously businesses that are out there for recruiting, such as NCSA, Be Recruited, and so on, that are doing a tremendous job. So I'm not saying deter from them. What I am saying is use as many resources as possible to get yourself to the next level. And the more you know about yourself and where you're going and who you are, that process of whatever's next becomes that much easier. So that's all I got for you guys. Thanks for watching. For those who are there, I don't see any questions being asked, so I'm assuming everyone gets it. We all understand what's going on. If you do have any further questions, shoot me an email at info@keenanbriggs.com. And for any other type of help or assistance you may need, please visit keenanbriggs.com. And how do I